Hey, Jens, thanks so much for hopping on with me. How's it going?
Of course, thank you. It's going great. Living it up in Utah.
I'm super
So
excited to chat. So we've been kind of, friendly colleagues for a while now, and we've also recently had the chance to kind of work with each other through referral, which is super excited. But I was super excited to have you on because you are doing some really, really cool things on social media and TikTok. But I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Before we get too far, if for anyone who's listening and they haven't had the chance to meet you yet, can you share a little bit about your story and how you got to where you are today?
yeah, thank you. So my name is Jens Nielsen. I am a Utah native, born and raised, haven't left. So I know I know Utah. Um, I got started in real estate as a real estate professional 2 years ago, but have been kind of in the real estate industry for quite a bit longer than that. My dad's always been in real estate. He's officially a commercial real estate appraiser. He's had his license before, and investing and all that such. So I've always kind of dabbled in the real estate field. And I actually got my degree from BYU in construction management, which I feel like has actually been a great asset because I did work in construction beforehand. And it's been fun because when I've been helping my clients with when it comes to new construction and such, I feel like I can offer a little different level of expertise that maybe some agents might not be able to offer.
Love that.
And then also, I'm not an inspector, but I sometimes throw in my 2 cents, and obviously give them a disclaimer that I can't help be held liable for it. But I feel like it gives me kind of like an edge when it comes to homes because of my background in construction and real estate. So yeah, like I said, 2 years. First year was great, kind of average. Second year was great, a lot of fun. Kind of start integrating more of like the social media and stuff, and I feel like it's starting to pick up. So that's kind of the fun part about it, is seeing it starting to ramp up. So
Yeah, and you and I first met about a year ago, I want to say, and you
mhm.
definitely had that eye to like, I really want to build my brand on social media. So I guess we should start with like, why? And was that going to be like your main primary lead generation source? Was that like the main thing that you kind of were thinking of?
Yeah, so I mean, I started off with doing cold calls,
Mhm.
as I'm sure all agents are taught in the very beginning, cold call, door knock, and such. And while I still believe those are viable, I think the market is very heading towards social media as being its, maybe not necessarily the only source or like the dominant, but I would say it's going to be very strong for the coming years. That social media is going to be used as a tool to help connect buyers and agents, homes, and all that such. So yes, when I talked to you, I was like very interested in how can I implement social media into my strategy, because when we talked about social media, I thought was a great way to organically reach to people, and not feel salesy, but because then I could like reach out to people with their posts and such and say, oh my gosh, congrats on having a kid, or congrats on this, or graduation, whatever it may be. And that's like an organic approach to get those touches in, and stay top of mind. So it's
Yeah.
been awesome, and I was excited about it.
So did you started on Instagram, right?
And I'm still like working on it. It's been funny because as I've transitioned to heavy TikTok, I was kind of pulling back on Instagram. I'm like, no, I can't do that because I feel like a lot of the people on TikTok end up going to Instagram. I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
need to keep ramping that back up. So it was dropping down, but I'm ramping it back up. So
So did you ever get to a point where you were generating leads on Instagram before you started working on TikTok, or did you just kind of immediately start cross-pollinating on the different platforms?
no, I was, I more than anything, it was, I think I gotten a few, like randoms that had reached out to me, which I thought was awesome. But more than anything, it was my sphere of people that junior high that I added them on Instagram, and they were reaching out to me saying, "Hey, Jens, love all the content and all that such. We have some questions. We're going to be looking into it." And I got in more sphere of influence, closings out of it because of like just that connection. And it's like people that I hadn't talked to since junior high, and they're reaching out to me. So I thought that was very cool. Was just the fact that, hey, me just putting out content out there, reaching out to people on their stories, on their posts and whatnot, engaging with them led to natural engagement of them reaching out to me. So yeah, I've gotten some leads and deals out of it for sure.
I love that. So I want to talk about TikTok because I've been talking about how I'm TikTok curious. And I
Yeah.
swear, oh my gosh, I think about the first time I downloaded TikTok, and it was along with all the other millennials who downloaded it in like March of 2020 because we were locked down and bored. And I look back to that moment, and at that moment, I did the thing that I always say you shouldn't do. And I was like, oh, not for me. And
Yeah.
now, like, if I had just stuck with it, I feel like I would have really been able to like done something cool. So I'm now tiptoeing into TikTok. I'm TikTok curious and trying to figure out like what my overall strategy is there, but I'm actively posting. I want to hear your story and like your journey on getting into TikTok, because so many agents are going to poo-poo it so much. They're like, oh, I don't want to be doing these dances, but I love the way you show up on TikTok. I love your content. It is
Thank you.
irresistible, but tell me how you made it all happen.
Yeah, so same sort of thing. TikTok comes out during quarantine and such, and or maybe yeah. Anyways, and I downloaded it because I was like, oh, this is fun. These videos are very engaging and they're very catching, and so I was having a lot of fun with that. And then I actually stopped it because I think this was before we met, and I was like, I'm not gonna. It's taking up my time and all that such, so I'm not gonna worry about it. But then when I started talking to you about Instagram and such, I'm like, well, what other social media platforms can I like start integrating into my business? That because it's all about networking and getting to as many eyes as possible. So that's why I'm like, okay, I have my Instagram people, I have my Facebook people. Why not TikTok? I heard from a bunch of people that it's exploding like crazy, and it's a great way to get a whole bunch of eyes on you because it's just dumping stuff out there. And then as you start to grow, it starts to realize, okay, this is who we're going to push it to, and then also some more people. So I started getting into that, and then I was like posting kind of irregularly, and then I think it was before Christmas time of this last year that I was watching some of these like account like creators or like marketers, like how to promote your account, how to help you out. I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna take a look at it. And they were recommending posting 3, 4, 5 times a day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm posting once a day. And I'm like, this is so hard. And then they were teaching like little tricks, like just find whatever's on there and just post it. TikTok is meant to be like a very raw and I don't want to say like unprofessional, but like lower professional like content where it's very just you, just be natural about it.
Yeah,
Where I feel like Instagram's just like a little bit step up where it's like, okay, let's be a little bit more professional and
very
such.
polished.
Yeah, yeah. And so I started posting 3 times a day, and it was nuts. But
And I'm sorry, was this 2021 before Christmas?
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
like
So this
super,
is
super recently.
yeah, and it's crazy. I've gotten results from it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this works. And I, you know, I don't want to say like I'm normal. I don't know because typically it does take like a few months, I would say, or at least a few weeks, and then months, and then people are going to start recognizing you as an authority in your area. So the main thing was posting 3 times a day, and I was trying to post, okay, I got to think of some content. What am I going to do? I'm really big into video tours and home tours. I do a lot of stuff like that. So I was like, I could easily do that. It's showcasing the product that we have here in Utah. People are going to like that. An entertaining one, and then an educational one. And so I was trying to post like one of those each day. And my following just started ramping up like crazy. I was getting 100 followers each day. And I don't know, it's I don't know how it was working. It was crazy. I think it was kind of like the fun and entertaining, especially the trending sounds. I was trying to use those and kind of create some comedic content And a lot of my following is a whole bunch of agents, which I think is totally fine because then I can network and refer people out to different states and such. And I'm still trying to get more and more of like my sphere, people in Utah, and then also people that I don't know in Utah. So the cool thing about it is that it ramped up like crazy, and it's slowed down right now. Because I think I just got like a huge chunk of like real estate agents that were there. But I'm starting to get more and more people, and just by posting consistently every day, not all my videos go viral. I have some days where like all my videos get 200 views, and I'm like, it's fine. Another one's gonna pop off. I posted one last night, and it just went viral, at least viral for me. I had like 40,000 views on it, and it was just one video that another real estate agent used. So it wasn't even trending, but it was something very comedic and relatable. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then so when it comes down to it, the cool part is that I'm getting people that are asking questions on my page, and then they're living in Utah, or they might be out of state, and they're saying, hey, we're going to be moving to Utah. We're going to keep in touch with you. And then I refer to my Instagram for a little bit more of like I don't know, a professional engagement and such. I've gotten 6 potential leads, 1 solid one out of it. So it works.
That's out of like 6 weeks.
Yeah. So, and then it's like some of them, like I might end up losing because it's internet leads and it's part of the game. But I'm like, it is working. So it's all a matter of time. Keep growing your following, and stuff's going to start popping up and happening for you. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so fun. So I'm going to ask some of the questions that I know people listening are going to ask. And these are just going to be like kind of rapid fire questions, but take as much time as you want to answer them. Sweet. So straight up, you kind of touch on it, but how are you coming up with content creation ideas? Because like, this is especially in market authority, like this is one of those questions that always comes up, like, how do we come up with content? And we have our process to help approach that. But how did you kind of approach that with TikTok specifically?
Yeah, well, we're on TikTok anyways, and we can deny it that we're watching it, that we're studying and trying to find research, or watching it because it's very entertaining. Well, just use that time. I'll get distracted. I'll pull it up during work, and I'm looking at stuff, and then all of a sudden I'll remember, okay, use this time to like find some content. So
like just
find stuff that's yeah, exactly. Don't just kind of get lost in it. It's very easy, but start paying attention to it because then you're going to start finding stuff that is going to be able to work for you. So I was finding trending stuff. I follow a few pages of content creators that are their job specifically is to find the trending stuff. So I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time on it trying to find the trending stuff. So I follow them. So they're getting, they're following and such, but they're providing the trending audios, which then I use to relate to my niche. And then, sorry, I just totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, finding that. And then I also follow other real estate agents as well, because they're going to pump out great content as well, organic, original content. And then I use some of their stuff. Sometimes I've asked them, like, can I essentially copy? And they're totally fine with it. And people have asked me the same thing. So I think finding stuff that's trending is very important because that's going to grow your following, because the trending is the stuff that's going to get pushed out by TikTok naturally. And then I would say tips, tutorials, help and stuff is going to be perfect for those people that stay on your page, that they saw something funny and they're like, oh my gosh, okay, he's a funny real estate agent. She's a funny real estate agent. They're in my state. Let's take a look at their page. Because then if there's those tips, well, then they're going to be like, oh, this is like helpful. Okay, now I'm learning some stuff from them. Yeah. And then I always like to throw on property tours, or even like when I'm just doing showings and such, because I think it's a great way to, like I said, just showcase the product that we have down here. And who knows, like I like doing new construction stuff, because if I'm showing the builders model homes or homes that they built, I might have people that are, and I actually I've had people reach out to me just recently. It was like an Oakwood Homes up here in Saratoga, and they were asking me questions about it. And I was talking to them through it, and they're like, oh, well, what about this other builder? And so now I'm getting all this information for them of new construction in the area. And I'm like, oh, this is sweet. So
Right.
all from doing like the home tours. And obviously I get the hate. But one thing I would say is do not care about the hate. In fact, I would say kind of egg it on a little bit, because the more comments that you get on it,
Yeah.
it's just going to push your content out there more.
So this
So
was actually one of my rapid fire questions for you. So like the hate comments, because I was actually going through some of your posts and you have a lot of engagement and most of it's
yeah,
overwhelmingly positive or like, oh, really
yeah,
cool. Thanks for sharing that kind of stuff. And then every now and then you get the just Google it, stupid realtors, like, stuff
yeah,
like that, which I've gotten to in the past. I think it's hilarious. But some agents are really afraid of putting themselves out there because the thought of getting feedback like that that's negative is like paralyzing to them. But I actually saw
yeah.
some of your responses. You're engaging with these people.
Oh yeah, yeah. I will like their comment. I will comment back to them, and depending on my mood, sometimes I try and be like professional, like more professional and nice. But with TikTok being a very kind of unprofessional thing, there's sometimes where if I'm getting quite a few negative ones, I kind of get like in a sassy mood, and but it eggs it on. I mean, I'm telling you, I'll do like something a little sassy, and then they like come back and say something. I'm like, thank you. You're promoting my post even more. It's just getting pushed out there. So I understand it is kind of like frustrating when a lot of them are like, I wouldn't say a lot, but I might get like a post or a comment every post where it's something negative. And it's like, you real estate agents don't know what you're doing, you're overpaid or whatever. And I'm just like, I understand my value. I'm sorry you had a bad experience with an agent maybe in the past. Hopefully, and I'll even say I hope your home buying experience in the future is a positive one.
Mm-hmm.
And then because then people will see like, oh, okay, he's a nice person, but then they'll also see my side of like, oh, he's gonna fight back. He's not gonna step down from his position.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I would say.
I love that. I love that. And at the end of the day, engagement is engagement, right? It doesn't like TikTok doesn't care what's positive or negative. All they see is that comments are happening and that it's a provocative post, which is great. You want to
Yep.
provoke engagement, which is awesome. So
Yep.
the other one I was going to ask was editing. So do you do all of your editing in TikTok? Because I know that's one that's going to get asked, like, oh, how do you edit your videos? For me, I'm straight up like, I don't have time to mess around with like tools and like editing, all this crazy stuff. So I'm going to always look for the path of least resistance. But what does it look like for you?
Yeah. So when it comes to everything but home tours, I do it directly on TikTok. Um, I've seen it myself, and I've heard from multiple sources that the video quality, TikTok really wants you to record on the app because
Okay.
the quality will end up being a little bit better. I've seen it. And so I would say if you're doing trends, tips, and stuff like that, shoot um, on the app. But like, let's say you're batching content. Well, okay. Let's say you're making like a YouTube video or a longer form video, and you're trying to pull like different pieces of it for short form content, and just do it on your phone or on your camera or whatever. It's not the end of the world if it's like a little bit lower quality. And then when it comes to home tours, I'm not shooting it on the TikTok app just because I have these different apps that I use. The DJI for like my mobile gimbal that I use for home tours. I use that app because it gets great quality. And then when it comes into TikTok, it ends up being just still a solid quality content. But yeah, in the app primarily. And then other than that, I'm doing just on different apps. Like I said, the DJI mobile. And then for editing content, I use Adobe. Some people you can use iMovie, and there's like another one, Luminar Rush or whatever. But I like Adobe Premiere Rush. You can get it on your phone, and it's super easy to edit. So I'll do like a video tour of a home, minute 30 long, of just like entry, kitchen, dining, and then the master bedroom. And then
Mhm.
I'll just condense it down to like 30 seconds on the phone app, and I post it, and it literally takes me like 5 minutes. So
Yeah. So would you say that that's like for all of your TikToks, you really don't spend a lot of time editing? It's all under like 5 or 10 minutes.
oh yeah, yeah. And that's why a lot of people have asked me too, some other agents that are like, how do you do all of this, like all of this content and such? Well, like my wife, how she's doing her TikTok and whatnot, we literally just set aside some time during the week where we just batch a whole bunch of content. But
Nice.
then also during the week, if we find some training audios that are coming up, I can literally get, unless it's like something that's a little more intense, I can get a TikTok video done in like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You just have to run through the line or what the audio or whatever it is a few times, and then you're good to go. And that's why people are like, oh my gosh, like that's how you can post 3 times a day. Yeah, I spend 10-15 minutes on these 3 posts and I'm good to go. So
Right. So did you were already doing video because you were doing video walkthroughs on Instagram and stuff. But you put yourself on video a lot on TikTok. Like most of them have your face in it. And so what do you say, like, what's your mind when you hear from agents like, oh my gosh, I would love to do that, but I'm not brave enough. I can't put myself on video. Do you ever hear that, or did you ever feel that yourself?
Yeah, it's in the very beginning, I was so nervous, but I knew social media works, and everyone said you got to put yourself out there because people want to see you. They don't want to see the just listed, just sold signs. It's boring. It's boring.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to post it at a certain time and place because people want to see your credibility, but people want to see you. They want to see your expressions and everything. And so my first one, I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to post it. And it went like little viral for me in the beginning. I had like 200 followers and I got 700 views. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then it kind of took a little bit more. But now I'm kind of like, my personality is in the beginning, when I first meet someone, I'm a little bit more shy and reserved. But once I get to know someone, I'm goofy, I'm fun. So it was tough in the beginning. It is tough. But once you start doing it, it's like, who cares? Like, I'll have people that are like, oh my gosh, this is a weird kid. I'm like, I don't care. I'm out here having fun. So yeah.
Do you pay attention at all to the analytics? Like, do you watch your views at all, beyond just like kind of, oh, okay, that did well, or, or do you just kind of do what you're doing and you don't worry too much about stuff that like doesn't necessarily quote unquote matter?
I'm starting to dive into a little bit more of the analytics. Before I was just looking at likes and views, which is totally fine. But now I'm starting to pay attention. Okay, how long are they staying on that video? At what part are they getting to? Especially if it's like a tip one, I'm like, okay, so how far are they getting into this video? What's the average view time? And what's like the percentage? So I just looked at the one recently, from what I last saw, it was like 40%. No, I think it was like 48% of the viewers watched it all the way through. And then I take a look at the total views, which is like 40,000. I'm like, that's 20,000 people that watched the whole thing completely through.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, if I can have 20,000 eyes looking at me, that's huge. And so obviously, like with property tours, those ones are going to drop down a little bit, but then it's like the people that are staying on there, even though it's a little bit less, are more interested. So I don't think I like worry too much about like the average view time. I'm not like too worried about it. But I'm trying to find ways to optimize it to capture, like in the beginning, like I'll start off with some of the tips, like, did you know, and kind of use you very personal, because then it's like, oh, me, do I know? Okay, what do I know? And then they're going to engage. So if you kind of figure out tips, stuff like that, then it's going to help you to get a little bit, better view time. So
love that.
Yeah.
So it's more of just like collecting data and not like letting it be the one thing they're like, oh, I failed, I only got 2 views or whatever, which some of mine only 2 views.
It happens all the time. I will say there's tricks. I don't know if you wanted to go this
Sure.
route or whatever.
Yeah, I want to talk about tricks.
So what I've heard from a lot of people, and I've seen it online, is that TikTok will send it to like a group, a smaller group in the very beginning. If it performs well, it sends it to a bigger group. And if it performs well, it sends it to a bigger group, and so on and so on. So one of the best things that you could do in the very beginning is, when you post it, send it to a few people that are like your buds. They got your back. They're going to support you.
Okay.
Have them comment it, like it. And I've had a buddy that he's commented on it, but specifically did like a spelling error. And then people are like, you spelled that wrong. This is the grammar police. Yeah. It happened on one of my wife's videos, the one that she kind of got a little bit more views on. I spelled plagiarism wrong. And everyone's like, even my wife was like, you mean plagiarism? And I'm like, okay.
You're like, yes, correct comments.
Yeah. So it's like, Sharing is huge. The one that just went viral, I have like 100 shares, and every time that I get at least 3 shares, I'm looking at I think I don't know if it's like an average because I've started to notice it. I think it's like a share is like 1,000 views, but that's not confirmed or anything. That's just kind of my hypothesis, what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So shares are really big. So if you share in the beginning, and if those people share to like one other person, that's going to help. And then just the likes in the comments. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That reminds me of engagement pods in the early Instagram days. And what people would do is they would get a group of like 10 or 15 people and create an engagement pod. So you'd make a post on Instagram. And what happened was Instagram did not like that because they would catch on that it was not like quote unquote authentic engagement. TikTok is a different type of community though. And I could see that working really well as long as it's not like obviously like obscenely, fake engagement. You know what I mean? Not that it's fake engagement, but you know what I mean? Like planted.
Yeah. Yep. So that's something that like my wife and I do, and some of my friends, like we will like intentionally do a comment that is very intentional to that post. We won't just be like, do like an emoji.
Great
That's
post.
not going to fly. Yeah. It's not going to fly. It's not going to work. We do stuff that maybe even triggers a question to get more engagement in there. That's something you can do when people post on yours. You could respond, but then ask a question. Like they could be like, oh, this home's too much. And I'll be like, oh, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. This is the area. What kind of price range are you looking at? And then if they comment back, it's just going to boost the post even more. So that, and then, yeah, I mean, and there's even some where we'll post it and then I still send it out to the same share and engagement, but I feel like I'm staying consistent. So then every few videos, they're going off viral for me. So yeah.
That's super fun. So what's your big goal for this year? Like with TikTok in mind, if it's been a really successful year using this platform for your business, what does that look like at the end of the year?
I think it'd be fun to have, I actually haven't sat down and like thought about like a transaction kind of goal. Actually, okay, I'll take it back. For like a following, I would like to have 10,000 followers by the end of the year.
Cool.
Just because I know following is not the end of the end all, but the more people I can reach, the more people that can reach out to me and I can help. So that's probably one of my goals. And then I would say, I think it'd be fun to probably have about 6 transactions throughout the year just from TikTok. Obviously, I have my Instagram, and I have my other forms of prospecting that I'm doing that are gonna, be a lot more than that. But I think it'd be fun to have like 6 transactions coming from specifically from TikTok. So that would be my goal, and then just 10,000 followers. So
that's so cool. Well, I think we all need to help Jens get to 10K. So where can everyone listening find you on TikTok?
So my TikTok handle is @Jens JENS.Utah Realtor.
Okay, cool. So I'll make sure that that's in the show notes too. You guys definitely connect with Jens there. I just gotta say, I have to acknowledge you, like, you have a really fun personality, and I never knew that until I saw that on TikTok. Like, obviously, like, we're friendly and stuff, but like, you really put yourself out there. You do the funny stuff, you do the viral things, and it is so engaging. You do such a great job, and I know that's challenging when it's something new. So I just want to acknowledge you for trying something new and sticking with it and staying committed. And I really hope that that turns out into a really successful pillar for your business, Jens. I think that it will if you stick with it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun kind of showing my personality, which at the end of the day, that's what people want to see. They want to see who you are, and because that's how they develop a relationship. So, yeah.
I agree. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I loved this conversation, and I had a really good time chatting about it. So thanks for hopping on and sharing your TikTok secrets with us.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks.